Okay, well, thank you very much mga kaibigan, mga kababayan ko po dyan sa Pilipinas, dito din po sa Malaysia, particularly dito sa Sabah. And very specific dito po sa Kota Kinabalu City, the only city sa Sabah is Malaysia. And of course, I would like to say magandang araw sa inyong lahat, mga overseas Filipino workers sa mga iba-ibang nasyon. And sana lang ang mga kaibigan natin, kababayan natin, dyan po sa Israel saka sa Iran and other places may conflict, may gera po. Sana you will always be safe, no? You will always be safe. So you won't be victims of the war. Ingat-ingat lang tayo po. Today is Wednesday, June 25th na tayo, no? Kahapon nag-celebrate ang Pilipinas with a lot of waters dahil San Juan po ang celebration natin sa June 24, San Juan yun po. And tradition normally during the first few hours or in the morning ng celebration ng San Juan, now we will throw water sa mga kapwang tao natin po. Hindi dapat tayo magalit. And nandoon pa rin, but not all areas in the Philippines na we still practice this kind of tradition in celebrating ang celebration natin ang San Juan. Ito po si Nico Fabian once again, nandito para magbigay sa inyo ang mga latest developments, what is happening dyan sa Pilipinas, what is happening sa ibang parte sa mundo, and very specific. Anong kung may mga updates tayo tungkol ang sitwasyon ni former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Si other very known as Tatay Digong, or fondly called by many, be it a politician or ordinary Filipinos, we call him or we address him PRRD. Or FPRRD. Yun, ibig sabihin si Tatay Digong yan po, ang former president ng Pilipinas. And I will be sharing with you ang mga updates ni Tatay Digong. I will be sharing with you ang mga comments regarding ng interim release bid of the Council of Tatay Digong. And of course, we'll be touching on mga comments ni Inday Sara Duterte, the daughter of Tatay Digong, and who is now the incumbent Vice President of the Philippines. Kanina, si Vice President Inday Sara Duterte held a press briefing po or press conference, and I will be sharing with you po. I'll be sharing with you some footages, ano ang mga mensahe ni Inday Sara Duterte regarding ang mga issues tungkol sa kanya, ang impeachment trial, tungkol sa Tatay Digong. Mostly will be touching more on the interim release of Tatay Digong, how Inday Sara Duterte is taking it, is taking it. And of course, let us all hope that the ceasefire between Iran and Israel will continue and the war will stop po. Dahil marami na po talaga ang mga biktima, mga biktima ng gera dyan po sa Iran and Jerusalem and Israel. So before going any further, I would like to shout out muna tayo sa kaibigan ko dyan sa Cebu, si Felicen. Si Felicen, si Mr. Felicen, or other words, or fondly called by many classmates and friends, ni Felicen, we call him as Kangkang. Kangkang Kong Hipachoy. Malayo pa ang Kong Hipachoy. But anyway, magandang araw sa inyo, Kangkang, and also to your family and to your friends dyan po sa Cebu, and all the Cebuenos, Cebuenos, no? Kumusta kayo, and hope everything is running smoothly. Alright, to start with, I would like to share with you an article regarding itong interim interim release of Tatay Digong. And according to, you can see in my title sa episode natin for today, Wednesday, yon ang title natin, Grabe si Boying, Kawawa PRDD, PRRD. Why I use this title? It is because kanina po when I was outside mobile dito sa Kota Kinabalu, I managed to get a word or two from our fellow countrymen, mga Filipinos dito po, both documented and non-documented. And karamihan sa kanila po, 8 out of 10 out of 10 people I talk to, karamihan talaga, they are not happy with the statement made by Department of Justice Secretary si Boying Remulla regarding ang issue ng interim release bid of Tatay Digong, which was filed by his lead counsel si Nicholas Kaufman. Nandito po. And you know what they were telling me? Kanina, they were telling me na ano ba ito si Boying, si Secretary Remulla, is he a Filipino or what? Because being an intellectual person, highly educated, a lawyer by himself, and now as a secretary, and became a congressman. And I keep on telling about, repeating during his political days, as a congressman, na let us protect the interest and welfare of every Filipino. And he wants to see that this will, be respected, be respected in terms of, sabi natin, protecting the lives and interests, welfare of every Filipinos, be it abroad, or be it in the Philippines or in our own motherland. So, medyo nasaktan ang mga Filipinos dito sa Sabah. Yon mga statements ni, sabi natin, Secretary Boying Remulla. Let me share with you itong bakit nasaktan ang mga Filipinos dito sa Malaysia tungkol sa statement ni Secretary Boying Remulla. Now, let me share you with this, I will read you this news article which I took it from Philstar, dyan po sa Pilipinas. And this is the story of the day. Today is June 25, Wednesday po, 2025. Ang title ng news article is, Remulla opposes ICC release bid, says Duterte gets best care in Netherlands. In Netherlands. Nandito po ang detalles ng news article na ito po. You listen carefully, and later on, I will be sharing with you some footages po. Some footages. And at least you will be able to understand bakit ang mga Filipinos dito po, bakit ang mga Filipinos dito sa Sabah, particularly sa Malaysia, particularly dito po sa Sabah, medyo disappointed sila ang attitude ni Secretary Boying Remulla. I have nothing to, I'm not against Secretary Boying Remulla. I'm just passing itong mga sentiments or sentimiento ng mga Filipinos dito sa Sabah. Be it legal Filipinos, legally residing and working in Sabah, and included na po yon mga relatives ng mga or undocumented Filipinos as well as the relatives po. And here is the details of the news article. Justice Secretary Jesus Crispin Boying Remulla gave his 2 cents on former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte's interim release request. For him, it's not appropriate, practical, or necessary. Hindi daw appropriate po, hindi daw necessary to grant ang ICC ang interim release of Tatay Digong. Well, we don't think that it is an appropriate request. I think that the case should be heard as possible. Remulla told ANC head start on Wednesday, June 25. Ibig sabihin today. If the request is granted, he said it may only do more harm than good. So, yun po, klarong-klaro. Sabi ni Remulla, ni Boying, if the request is granted by ICC, it may only do harm than good. Do you agree with this? Do you agree with this? Ang mga Filipinos dito po sa Sabah, they disagree sa statement ni Remulla. Duterte's camp sought an urgent interim release on June 12 from the International Criminal Court or ICC Pre-Trial Chamber 1. This is a request that, if granted, would allow Duterte to be temporarily free pending his trial on crimes against humanity charges. Nag-file ang kampo ni Tatay Digong through ang lead counsel si Nicholas Kaufman last June 12 for the urgent interim release or temporary release of Tatay Digong. Okay? The defense pointed to Duterte's age and declining health in seeking interim release, saying he poses no risk of fleeing or committing further crimes. One of the reasons po is because hindi threat yun po si Duterte if we are going to give or the ICC will grant the temporary freedom of Tatay Digong. And at the same time po, because of health reasons, 80 years old na po si Tatay Digong, and keeping him in the detention center definitely it will be more humane to keep him in a house, not a detention center po, no? Not a detention center. Mas maganda yung po ang atmosphere ni Tatay Digong while waiting for the hearing of his charges scheduled on September 23rd this year. All right? They argued the prosecution had no objections to Duterte's being sent to an unnamed ICC state party, but the prosecutor rejected their assertion, saying they agreed only to a specific country, not the one the defense proposed. May mga pangalan po. Kung sakali mag-grant ang ICC ang interim release ni Tatay Digong, countries like, because dapat member ng Rome Statute, itong country who will be willing to host ang temporary stay ni Tatay Digong po while awaiting for the reading of his charges on September 23. One of the countries most likely po is Belgium, France, Netherlands itself, and the other one just recently mentioned by no other than Vice President Inday Sara Duterte is Australia. Is Australia po. In the response to interim release request, the prosecutor urged the ICC to deny the request, citing several reasons. Ang prosecutor, yung kalaban ni Duterte, sabi nila po na dapat lang daw mag-deny ang request bid ni Nicholas Kaufman when it comes to the interim release or temporary freedom of Tatay Digong. Among the reasons po, Duterte is likely to strongly resist arrest, having refused to recognize the court's jurisdiction and with his allies framing any potential arrest as kidnapping. Yun daw po, no? Baka mag-refuse daw ang arrest ulit si Tatay Digong. And the other reason is he continues to wield significant political influence with access to associates and family members is still in power. This raises concern over potential witness interference. Ha? Do you believe si Tatay Digong is a threat to this thing? Ha? Is a threat? May influence pa ba si Tatay Digong? Ngayon, nasa labas siya sa Pilipinas? And do you think he will interfere ang mga potential na witness sa complaints niya po? I don't think so. Duterte has allegedly obstructed past investigations into his anti-drug campaign during his tenure as mayor and president. Okay? Yun daw noon. And lastly, the last reason is that even before his arrest, he was actively leading political events and was able to travel to Hong Kong where he delivered a 1-hour speech. Masama ba yun? He's the chairman of the political party po, no? And the midterm election was just around the corner during that time. No? And yes, he was campaigning. He's a politician. Although nakita natin po si Tatay Digong when he appears sa mga rallies, medyo very obvious na po na mahina si Tatay Digong. So Remulla said there is no point in being transferred to another country if medical reasons are their primary concern, since to him the Netherlands already has the best medical care. Yun po, sabi ni Remulla, hindi na daw kailangan kasi maganda daw ang medical care dyan po sa Netherlands. Maganda daw po. So, no need for him to transfer. Sabi naman ng mga Pilipinos dito, ano ba ito si Remulla? Is he a Filipino? Wala ba siyang puso? Wala ba siyang heart to think that Tatay Digong is already 80 years old, and based on what the Inday Sara Duterte, ang congressman na si Pulong, and other visitors, the family members, immediate family members of Tatay Digong, when visited dyan po sa detention center, they all said that Tatay Digong is losing weight. Pumayat daw po. No? Pumayat daw po. So kung lagyan natin si Tatay Digong dyan po sa isang bahay po, no? Mas maganda pa ang atmosphere, see? Instead of sa detention center. In fact, if you remove him from the detention center, maganda ang pangalan ng ICC. Maganda din ang mga pangalan, ang mga benefits din na si Tatay Digong will be able to enjoy. The way I look, sabi ni Remulla, the way I look at it, the best medical care is already available in the Netherlands, and moving him might even cause a few more adjustments that would not be good for him. Moving daw kay Tatay Digong sa ibang lugar, now si Tatay Digong will have to do some adjustments. So let's just wait for the case to be heard, and let's just stay put where he is right now, Remulla added. For Remulla, this is the best thing that could happen to Duterte's case. What matters most, he said, is that the families of drug war victims who have long suffered from impunity and the lack of accountability may finally see justice as evidence is brought forward. Correct? Concerned siya po sa families of the victims. That I agree, I salute. But also, are you not concerned, ito si Secretary Boying Remulla, about the condition, the situation of the former president, your own former president, your own president, si Tatay Digong? Are you not concerned? You're only concerned about the victims of this war against drug. How about the victims of itong mga drug addicts, itong mga sabihin natin those involved in illegal distributions? What happened? So yun po ang komentaryo o comments of the Filipinos dito po sa Sabah. And sabi pa ni Remulla, so let's leave it as it is and put more meaning to where we want to put more meaning to, which is the healing of the case, Remulla added. So yun po. What do you think? Ha? Anong palagay ninyo po? Are you supporting Secretary Boying Remulla? Okay ba yon mga how we understand, how we look at the situation now of Tatay Digong? Hindi dapat asking the ICC not to grant the interim release of Tatay Digong for reasons that he mentioned. Anyway, nandito po. Let's listen to the interview of Secretary Boying Remulla when he was asked about the issue. Hold on, I will share it with you. Sandali po, nandito. 2:10. Let's listen to this.
Strongly opposing former President Duterte's release, his interim release request to his chosen country. Does the DOJ, does the Philippine government have an official stance when it comes to Duterte's request?
Well, we don't think that it is an appropriate request. I think that the case should be heard as soon as possible, and that there may be more harm than good that will come out of it if that request is granted by the court. And the court itself knows that it took a lot to be able to bring him before the Hague, before the ICC, and it's not going to be easy to bring him back in case they lose possession of him or custody of him. So I think it's better that it just hear the case with him present in the proceedings.
Secretary, what do you believe are the risks if the court grants Duterte an interim release? Because they claim that he is at a flight risk. Because of his age, for example, he needs the necessary medical care. So there's a chosen country, but the ICC prosecution has said, we would agree, but not to that country. So they have another country that's been redacted. We don't know these countries. But overall, what is the risk of having Duterte released to a country?
Number one, is it practical or necessary to get him released to another country? The way I look at it, the best medical care is there already available in the Netherlands, and moving him might even cause a few more adjustments that would not be good for him. So let's just wait for the case to be heard, and let's just stay put where he is right now. I think that's the best thing that can happen in this case.
Now, in the petition,
Yan po. That's what Secretary Remulla responds to the question of Karen Davila. And nandito po, another footage. Si Remulla pa rin po.
The language itself, as a lawyer, we try to be careful with the words that we use. It might be a subliminal thing that they use the word will not continue to commit crimes. So let's leave it as it is and put more meaning to where we want to put more meaning to, which is the healing of the cases, so that the people who suffered during the drug war, at least the families of those who suffered during the drug war or who were killed or disappeared, will be put to rest, because all of these fears are there, and we want this to end as soon as possible.
Yan po, sabi ni Boying, ni Boying. Again, I just want to inform you that ang mga Filipinos dito po sa Sabah, when I talked to them this morning, now out of 10, 8 are saying na they disagree with the manner, ang attitude ni DOJ Secretary Boying Remulla po when it comes to this issue of interim release of Tatay Digong. No? And kayo nang bahala po. No? For me, I also agree. Kailangan din si Tatay Digong, considering his age, his health, why not grant ang interim release of Tatay Digong, temporary release. Kagaya dyan sa Pilipinas dito po, pero unfortunately, ang ICC do not have this kind of system wherein you can put a bail and then you will be able to enjoy temporary freedom. Anyway, let's move on. Kayo na bahala po. And if you agree or you disagree, ang statement, ang opinion ni Secretary Boying Remulla. Once again, I said, ang mga Filipinos dito sa Sabah, they do not agree with the way Remulla is thinking about this issue of interim release of Tatay Digong. Now, this morning, mayroon din press conference si Inday Sara Duterte, and she also touched on the issue of the interim release bid of Nicholas Kaufman. Yun po, tungkol kay Tatay Digong. I will share with you itong footage po of Inday Sara Duterte, wherein when she was asked, no, anong ang reaction niya tungkol ang prosecutor is against this interim release for Tatay Digong. Nandito po ang response ni Inday Sara Duterte. Okay, 105. Ang cue natin dito po is 105. Let's listen to Inday Sara Duterte.
Kung as a lawyer, if I have to speak as a lawyer, it's all but natural for a prosecutor to oppose everything that the defense proposes. Kasi yun yung trabaho nila eh. Whether or not reasonable yun, it doesn't matter to them kasi trabaho nila hindi magbigay or magparaya sa defense team. As a daughter, anong nararamdaman ko? Well, I am concerned. As a daughter, I am concerned that he will not be granted interim release dahil he is 80 years old. He is not in good health. He's not been eating well, and he needs support from familiar people, and he needs the.
Alright, yan po si Inday Sara Duterte, and more coming, footages of Inday Sara Duterte tungkol sa press conference niya po this morning dyan sa Pilipinas. Okay, the next footage that I'm going to share with you is ito po. Let's listen to the continuation of the press conference, a portion of the press conference of Inday Sara Duterte.
Daughter, anong nararamdaman ko? Well, I am concerned. As a daughter, I am concerned that he will not be granted interim release dahil he is 80 years old. He is not in good health. He's not been eating well, and he needs support from familiar people, and he needs the care of his family and loved ones.
Isang sinabi ko, sorry. Pwede pa rin daw niyong man-threaten ang mga victim. You think PRR is capable of doing that?
Noong siya ay Pangulo nga, hindi nga niya trineten yung mga biktima eh. Pangulo siya noon. Meron siyang power and authority. Ngayon pa na nasa loob na siya ng detention unit. And lalo na kapag nasa ibang bansa na siya, na unreachable sa kanya ang mga tao sa Pilipinas. So, it doesn't make sense to say na magkakaroon pa siya ng influence kung meron siyang interim release dahil nung nandito siya sa Pilipinas, naging mayor siya, naging president siya. At even nung natapos ang term niya, hindi niya kailanman tinanong. In fact, ako pa yung paulit-ulit na nagsabi sa kanya na maghanda ka. Si Harry Roque pa yung isang taon siya hinabol-habol na sinabihan na maghanda ka. So he never did anything against the witnesses.
All right, let's move on to the next footage that I'm going to share with you. Ito po, ang conditions. Conditions po. Walang guarantee po. Tungkol when she was asked about whether si Tatay Digong will violate any conditions in the event ICC will grant his temporary freedom or temporary release. Nandito po. Let's listen to this. 109. But before I'll give you the 109, let's listen first to this thing.
But I do not understand why the prosecution would oppose the petition for interim release of an accused based on the statements of family members. So, it is clear that he is in court requesting for interim release and signifying that he will comply with all the obligations. I suppose, nandoon naman na lahat yun na nakalagay. Yun yung mga obligasyon na kailangan niya gawin, nakalagay doon sa kanyang petition. So, ibig sabihin, the accused himself submitted to the power of the courts for interim release and whatever obligations he needs to comply. No? So, kung sinasabi nila na hindi ibibigay ang interim release dahil merong mga statement ng pamilya, it doesn't fall also into the parang reasons kung bakit hindi ibibigay ang interim release. Dapat siguro ang kanilang pinagbabasehan lang ay yung actions and sinasabi ng akusado. Hindi at kung ano yung sinasabi ng country where he will be released to. Napakamali na gagamit sila ng rason para ikontrahin ang petisyon ng isang akusado base sa statements ng pamilya.
Yeah, see? So, yon po ang response ni Inday Sara Duterte. And another footage that I would like to share with you, ang kung mag-violate ang condition or conditions put forward dyan po sa interim release ni Tatay Digong. Let's listen to the comment of or statement of Inday Sara Duterte. Okay? Nandito po. Let's listen to this.
Hindi ko din binasa ang kasi trabaho ng mga abogado yan, ng ICC lawyers, no? So hindi ko din binasa yung petition niya for interim release. I scanned through it but did not really read with comprehension. So baka nandoon yan because isa yan sa mga obligasyon ng akusado. So imposibleng wala yan doon and imposible na hindi i-garantiyan na ang bansa kung saan siya papunta dahil they are a party to the wrong statute. Therefore, kung ano man yung sinabi nila na obligasyon namin ay dapat ginagawa nila. So, baka number one pa nga yan doon na hinihingi sa akusado at sa bansa kung saan siya papunta na he will be available for the court at any time.
Yeah, totoo din yan po, no? One is the moment, let's say for example, Australia or Belgium or France will accept Tatay Digong sa country nila po, that is also the obligation, that will be the obligation of this host country to make sure that Tatay Digong, when the time comes for him to be doon po sa trial, that he will be sent to the ICC to attend the trial. Also, you must remember na high-tech na tayo dito po sa mundo ngayon po. He can even attend. I was made to understand there is no such violation that Tatay Digong can attend the session, court session po, even online. Even online po. But the question if he will violate, I don't think so po. Because one is, the host country, it is the obligation of the host country to make sure that the Tatay Digong will not go anywhere, and when he's needed in ICC court, then the host country will make sure that he will be physically or maybe online po to attend the court session. Yan po, no? Yan po. That's how I look at it. That's how I understand based on the media reports that are being released sa Pilipinas, dito sa Malaysia, and international news po. Alright? Now, okay, let's go to another topic wherein Inday Sara Duterte was also asked to comment on itong conflict between Iran and Israel. Ang war between Iran and Israel. How the government, Philippine government is looking after the interests and welfare of the Filipinos caught in this war, no? When it comes to repatriation po, no? Repatriation. Nandito ang reply ni Inday Sara Duterte. Let's listen to this. 136. Let's listen to this po.
As with we are ready to support senators with regard to LGBTQIA laws, we are ready to support the DFA, the Department of Foreign Affairs, and the Departments of Migrant Workers. Kung ano man yung pwede namin gawin, abot ng makakaya ng Office of the Vice President para makatulong sa kanilang repatriation efforts ng mga Pilipino na nandoon sa mga bansa na apektado, Iran, Israel, at yung mga karating bansa.
Ma'am, kasi ganito parang iniisip ng mga bansa ngayon para palikasin mga citizens abroad sa course na nangyari dito. I know merong ceasefire ngayon, may cruise ngayon, pero hindi natin sure kung gaano katagal yung cruise na yun. Pero pinupropose ko sa Pilipinas, politika, personal na knowledge, what's your take on this po? Kasi parang dapat iniisip po ng gobyerno natin, kapakanan ng buhay na po sana, yung kapakanan din ng ating mga consumers, dahil ang tataas yung presyo ng gas.
Totoo yan, no? Kaya doon sa aking mensahe kanina, kung nakita nyo sa aking speech, ay sinabi ko na unahin natin ang bayan, huwag yung pansariling interes, at tigilan natin ang pang-aatake sa politika.
But personally, ma'am, how will you support?
Correct. Okay, I agree with Inday Sara Duterte ang response niya po to the media questions po, no? And she also mentioned during the press conference in one of the questions po about mga measures taken by the present administration, Marcos administration po, tungkol itong prior to the war, no? Kasi expected naman yon na what will happen sa Iran and Israel, dahil mayroon na yung mga news, mga words coming out from Iran and mga statement coming out from Israel about the threat of a possible war. Now, let's listen to Inday Sara Duterte on when asked about the, sabi natin, how the government is looking at the situation po, especially in making sure that the interest and welfare of the Filipinos, especially the overseas Filipino workers po, are properly protected. In fact, during the press conference, she mentioned this word, too little, too late. Too little, too late. Let's listen to Inday Sara Duterte.
It's a little too late. Too little too late pala. Too little too late. Too little too late again. Dapat kasi the moment na nag-release na ng missiles or nag-launch na ng missiles ay meron ng plano kung ano ang gagawin para sa mga Pilipino na gustong lumikas. Hindi yung aantayin pa kung kailan sarado na yung borders, nawawala na yung nagka-cancel na ng flights, ang mga airspaces doon sa bansa na malapit sa kaguluhan. So, dapat kasi nagplano, hindi naman surprise yun. Alam naman nating lahat na mangyayari yon kasi nagsabi na silang dalawa na mag-aaway sila. Yung dalawang bansa ba, nagsasabi na sila. Kaya hindi siya sorpresa sa buong mundo. Saka yung pagtaas ng presyo ng krudo, hindi din nakakagulat yon sa ganun na pangyayari sa Middle East. Lagi yan, kapag merong sitwasyon doon sa Middle East, laging apekto talaga ang presyo ng krudo. Kaya dapat meron na rin plano doon. Mahirap lang naman pagplanuhan yung mga surprises eh. Yung mga alam na natin na mangyayari, dapat plug and play na lang yun eh. Pag nangyari na, ganito yung gagawin. Mabilis yung galaw at mabilis yung action.
Okay, yun po ang the way how Inday Sara is looking at the situation. Sabi niya, dapat daw sana ang gobyerno natin mayroon ng mga plano po, no? After all, it has been announced already. For example, itong war between Israel and Iran. Mayroon na yun mga warnings, left and right na yun po. The possibility of war will be broken, no? Diyan po sa region nila. So, sana po, sabi ni Inday Sara Duterte, ang gobyerno natin na prepare na po. And if it happens, then implement na lang ang whatever preparations na we made or ang gobyerno ng Pilipinas prepared. So sana daw. Although, sabi niya, it's also difficult to do something, yan mga surprises pa, no? Mga surprises, yan mga abrupt things that happen. So, but at least, mayroon na tayong mga precautionary measures, plans mo in the event something will happen. In the event something will happen. Yun po ang explanation ni Inday Sara Duterte. Now, she was also asked about to comment ang statement ng gobyerno ni Marcos, especially coming from the spokesperson, no? Si Attorney Claire Castro, about saying that Inday Sara Duterte is pro-China. Nandito ang explanation ni Inday Sara Duterte regarding this particular issue of accusing her being pro-China. Pro-China po. So, nandito po. Let's listen to this. I think this will be my last footage that I'm going to share with you during my program today, Wednesday. Dito po, Nick Talk, The Real Talk with Nico, June 25. Nandito, let's listen to this.
No, hindi nila dapat ako pinapasagot kung pro-China ako. Sagutin niya yung tanong ko, where is the independent foreign policy that is required by the Constitution? Where is it right now? explain to the Filipino people how you are going to implement your independent foreign policy. Huwag nilang pasagutin yung nagtatanong na sabihin nila ako ay isang pro-China person. Matagal na nila yan na narrative na pro-China ako. I'm not pro any country at all. Ang sinasabi ko lagi, we need to develop, we need to maintain, and we need to level up our relations with all countries. Hindi lang sa China. Pero kung nakikita ninyo sa ngayon, nakikita nyo na we have problems, we have issues, we have challenges with our relationship with China, particularly with our issues and the implementation of the arbitral award in the West Philippine Sea. Bakit ka kikiling sa isang superpower na kalaban nung may problema ka? Kumbaga, may problema tayo sa China. So bakit tayo kampi sa US? Parang magkaroon ka naman ng dignidad as a country. Huwag yung parang ano ba yung magtago ka sa saya ng iyong nanay? Ano bang saying yun? Magtago ka sa saya ng iyong nanay? Hindi. You stand on your own and face China with regard to your issues in the West Philippine Sea. You don't lean towards another superpower and say na, oh, please help me because he is bullying me. Ano yun? We have our Filipino pride. And in international relations, kung wala kang away, wag mo simulan yung away. You always need to cultivate good relations with not just your neighbors, but the entire global community.
Okay, yan po. Nagsalita na si Inday Sara Duterte po. Normally, when you talk about the foreign policies po, it is the president. It is the president po. But, yeah, they have been pushing Inday Sara Duterte to touch on the issue on China-US, no? Foreign policy na yan po. And I noticed si Inday Sara Duterte try to avoid this issue because she knows now, when we talk about foreign policies po, it is only the president. Depende na yan po sa kanya po. Depende na yan sa kanya. So, yun. Nagsalita na po si Inday Sara Duterte regarding the issue. And, yes, yun po ang final footage natin po. But before I will conclude this episode of mine, Wednesday ngayon po, June 25th, I just want to read you another story coming from Philstar po. This is a news article coming from Philstar, and heading of the news article is why most OFWs in Israel, Iran are staying despite the risk. Nandito po ang detalles ng this news article. Despite the growing instability in the Middle East due to tensions between Israel and Iran, fewer than 0.02% of more than 2 million overseas Filipino workers or OFWs in the region have requested to return home. 2 million po, only 0.02% lang po requested for the repatriation. The Philippine government has raised alert level 3 in Israel and Iran, urging Filipinos to consider voluntary repatriation. But as of this week, the Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW, has recorded just 311 requests. The first batch of returning OFWs arrived Tuesday night June 24, accompanied by DMW Secretary Hans Deo Kakdak. Most were from Israel, 3 were from Jordan, 1 from the Palestine, and another from Qatar. 50 more OFWs are expected to return soon. While Israel and Iran have agreed to tentative ceasefire, uncertainty in the region remains. So why are so many Filipinos choosing to stay? Bakit na po? No? Karamihan pa ng mga Filipinos, they don't want to leave the war zone areas. For many overseas Filipino workers or OFWs, the fear of losing stable employment outweigh safety concern. They don't want to leave the work, said Patricia Ivon Kaunan, head of the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration or OWA. Karamihan doon po ng mga Filipinos, they don't want to go home. Ayaw nila mag-uwi na dahil takot sila po. What will happen to them kasi wala silang trabaho sa Pilipinas. Many workers are bound by contracts and worry they won't be able to return to the same job. Still, DMW Undersecretary Felicitas Bay, cases where OFWs have returned to their employers after repatriation. Others, particularly caregivers, may have no job to return to, for example, if the person they were caring for has passed away, Bay said. The DMW and OWA estimate that over 205,000 Filipino workers in the Middle East are undocumented. The number adds to the already sizable Filipino population in the region. Kaunan attributed the number of third country hiring where a worker registers in one country but later seeks aid in another without notifying the Philippine authorities. It is hard to monitor our citizens if we do not know where they are. Sabi nga ang si Kaunan. She appealed to OFWs to go through the process of registration so that in cases of emergency, government can locate and assist them. Still, she emphasized that undocumented workers will not be excluded from assistance. We don't look at the documents when it comes to helping, especially in times like this. Yung gera. The DMW and OWA are offering 150,000 pesos in financial aid to all repatriated workers, including the undocumented. OFWs often have differing views on the threat level. Some believe the danger is easing, while others fear that traveling home might be more dangerous than staying. Kaunan acknowledged the historically low turnout for repatriation and said more outreach is needed from welfare officers on the ground. While the Department of Foreign Affairs has yet to declare Alert Level 4, which would entail mandatory evacuation, the DM and OWWA said that it is ready for such scenario. Yan po ang latest updates. Meron tayo tungkol sa mga overseas Filipino workers natin po dyan po sa Middle East. Maskin dangerous na ang sitwasyon nila po dyan sa Middle East, ang gera ang Iran at saka ang Israel, majority of them still do not consider seriously to participate in the repatriation program provided to them by the Manila government. Dahil po takot sila po. Once they go home, wala silang trabaho doon, or kung sakali after the war, babalik sila sa, they have some doubts kung pwede pa sila babalik sa Israel or sa Iran. dahil siguro namatay ng mga pasyente nila or whatever. So, yon po ang fear. So, bottom line is, takot ang mga overseas Filipino workers to go home dahil no guarantee ang employment nila po. No guarantee that whatever they're earning now, they will be able to still enjoy kung nandyan na po sila sa Pilipinas. So, siguro po, dito na lang ang Nick Talk, the Real Talk with Nico. And once again, I would like to say thank you very much for making me a part of your day today. Malaysia, Sabah, the Philippines, God bless us all. Don't forget to include in our prayers, in your prayers, ang safety of our fellow countrymen dyan po sa war zone areas po, like Jerusalem, Israel, and Iran, or dyan po sa Tehran. No? And of course, ang mga kababayan natin and fellow humans dyan po or affected sa mga gera sa mundo natin po, like sa Ukraine, let us also include in our prayers for their safety. So with this, Nico would like to say again, I'll see you in my next episode. Bye, and God bless us all.